I often hear people bragging about being an empath, especially in the spiritual world, the self-development world, the healing world. And I just want to give my feedback on why being an empath is not something to be bragging about. Years ago, when I first started doing my inner work and my work around boundaries and codependency and people pleasing and really noticing how much I was selling myself out for approval, this was years ago, it's probably 17, 18 years ago. I was first noticing this pattern. I realized that I had this issue with over-attunement. I was overly attuned to other people. They felt anxious, I felt anxious. They felt sad, I felt sad. They were angry, I was angry. And there was no separation. And I learned that. I learned over-attunement as a child. The reason I learned over-attunement as a child is because I had a chaotic upbringing. I had a home where I had to always keep my eyes wide open. I always had to be looking about me and looking to the people and testing the temperature of the room. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I always had to be on my toes and had to be ready at all times to respond in a way that would keep me safe and that would protect me and that would make the adults in my life happy, or so on and so forth, right? And that is where my over-attunement came into practice as an adult. I learned to constantly be reading the room, to constantly be meeting other people, to match them constantly. I even bragged. I was like, I could get along with anybody. I can get along with anybody. I can talk to anybody about anything because I was so good at morphing my emotions, morphing my conversations, morphing who I was in order to match and meet other people. But I was completely lost and disconnected within myself. And this so much came from being overly attuned to other people. And this is what the spiritual world, the self-development world, a lot of people in this world are now calling being an empath. So I want to point this out because I believe that this is kind of toxic. That so many people are like, oh, I'm just an empath. I'm an empath. You know what I think it is? I think it's an excuse to not be responsible for your over-attunement to others, for your over-responsibility for other people's feelings. It's a way to bypass actually doing the difficult work of pulling your energy back in, being responsible for yourself, not overgiving, and not constantly looking outside of yourself for who and how you should be and how you should feel. I'm not saying that being an empath is bad or that you are bad if you identify as an empath. But most empaths are empaths because it's a trauma response from their childhood that they're still living out as adults. So you can grow up and you don't have to be overly attuned and constantly attuned to other people in order to be empathetic, compassionate, caring, kind, open-hearted, and present with other human beings. I can honestly say that I am in greater service to the humans in my life. I'm much more present, I'm much more solid, I'm much more trustworthy, I'm much more emotionally available to the people in my life because I chose to detune from matching other people's emotions in my physical body. So I do not identify as an empath, even though I have all the qualifications for one. If you identify as an empath, I love you. This is no judgment, but just take a look at why. What made you that way? Did you have to be constantly attuned to the adults in your life as a child in order to survive? And are you carrying out that pattern in your life now? Maybe the answer is no. That's totally okay. Just want to put this out there. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jessica Amos. I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher. I'm a life transformation coach, and I'm the founder of Stay With Yourself, which is the practice of being who you are, where you are. So wherever you are right now, you get to be exactly who you are, where you are, and you don't have to match the people around you. You don't have to be constantly keeping your eyes open. You get to just stay with yourself, be responsible for yourself, let other people be responsible for themselves, right? Yes. Okay. Sending you so much love today from this parking lot at the tire repair shop. Yeah, getting tires done. Life. Talk to you soon.